Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulil Karim amma ba'd Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I want to welcome everybody to this webinar by Rahma Institute. The topic today we'll be discussing is Guide to Selecting a Spouse. My name is Khalid Iqbal. I'm the founder of this institute, Rahma Institute, and also the director. So, welcome everybody. We are so happy to have participants from all over the world, almost from four different continents, from North America, Europe, Asia, Africa. Welcome everybody. So good to have you. We are also very have a diverse participant from different, not only from nationality but also faith-wise, and we have some young people who are looking for getting married, or the parents whose children are ready for marriage, and even grandparents. So I just wanted to recognize that this particular webinar is based on the Islamic faith, although I've tried to minimize the use of Islamic terminology and quotes, because there are some people from other faiths also. So I ask for your understanding in this regard. A little bit about Rahma Institute. We are a nonprofit organization governed by a three-member board. We have been working for the past many years on family development work. Especially, we conduct marriage or family consulting or counseling. We have designed a very comprehensive 8-hour of premarital course, which has benefited many young couples. uh, we also have, I've written this book on anger and domestic violence prevention guide for the Muslim community. It's a 16-week course based on the Quran and Sunnah. And we also have a course on parenting. So this is the area where we work on. We are pleasure. It's honor and pleasure for me uh, to introduce my team. Um, I introduced myself, Khalid Iqbal. I also want to introduce Sister Samia Sheikh. She is currently in Mumbai, India, but live in Dubai. And then Sister Aisha Faisal. She is from Islamabad, Pakistan. Thank you to both of you for helping me in doing this workshop and all the other things that you helped me with. Thank you so much. A little bit of housekeeping rules. Please keep your microphone muted all the time during the webinar. If you have any questions, more than welcome. Would love to address them. So we some request you to write them on in the chat box, and we'll try to answer them after the presentation. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible. So the question is, what should one look for when selecting a spouse? This is the question on the mind of many young people, and also the parents whose children are getting ready to be getting married. Um, I was part of a conference and did a workshop, and I did a sort of an informal survey among young boys and girls who were present there, and they had a wide range of what they wanted to see in their potential spouse, from beauty or skin color, the education, profession, hijabi or non-hijabi, beard or not, how religious they are, the family size, ethnicity, responsibility, etc., habits, financial habits, especially. Where are they going to dwell, live, whether in a separate place or in a multifamily living, or then whether the wife will be allowed to work or not, or and the education and the pursuit of career. So a very wide range, and all of these are valid, by the way. So uh, what we are going to do is to analyze it from the basis of how to proceed. Uh, our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in a hadith, in an authentic hadith by Bukhari and Muslim, that people look for four things in when they're selecting a spouse. They look for beauty, for social standing, for status, for lineage, taqwa, and taqwa. Taqwa is divided into religion or deen and character, which is khuluq. But our Prophet added to it that one should concentrate on the last, that is taqwa. So, coming back to the question of our topic, I suggest we look at a potential spouse from two angles. One is what standards or qualities one should be looking for in their future soulmate. And I've divided that into two areas. One is core standards, which one must have. And then there are other ones that is what I call as peripheral standards. And we'll analyze both of them. The other one is some qualities that one might have that are questionable, they're bad qualities, and one should avoid them. And we'll go through those also. So, what are some of the core standards? Many of the people look for core standards, and you can develop your own, which is a must, that is essential, that cannot be compromised. Religion, spirituality, morality, character, etc., etc. And you can have your own list, by the way. Those are some of the ones that people have said that they would want in their potential spouse. Let me emphasize a little bit about what good character means, because character is one of the things, in my opinion, that brings in harmony into the marriage. The first and the foremost part of the good character is being honesty, trustworthiness, and faithfulness. Very critical, very important. If one is honest and truthful in their dealing with their spouse and their family members, then that creates a trust, a bond within the couple. And of course, how many marriages are breaking up because of the wrong or shameful act by one or the other person within the marriage, and they're not faithful to each other. We live in a society, unfortunately, where society is open, and the male and female relationships are getting in a way not very good, not so one should be careful in selecting somebody, what is their background, what their thoughts are on that area. The second is fulfilling the rights of others. This is one of the key thing, in my opinion, because how can one fulfill the right of others when they don't even know what the rights of a husband is towards the wife, or the wife is towards the husband? When I do premarital counseling, I ask many of the young couple, and they show me a blank face. They don't have any idea. So it's good to know and be very clear in your mind what the rights of your spouse is. The third aspect is being cheerful, positive. Who wants a spouse who is always stern, who always have, look a serious face on their when they approach home? The children goes quiet. Who wants such a person? So it's good to be cheerful. It's good to have a positive attitude. Our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to have a very, very positive attitude towards not only towards his wives, but towards everybody. The fourth aspect is responding to what is good with good. What do I mean by that? How often, and when I do marriage counseling or when I do a talk, I usually ask the husband, how, and the wives, how often have you said thank you to your spouse? How often have you exchanged gifts with each other? How often have you appreciated each other, how they look or how they dress or how they what they've done for you? There are thousands and thousands of things that people do, and sometimes what happens is, and that brings me to my point number 5, is we respond to one wrongful thing instead of thinking about the thousands and hundreds of good things that your spouse has done for you. So responding to something which is negative also with good, it's a approach, is a technique that we use, that we teach young people to have a happy home. And then the last and which is also very, very important, the sixth point is avoiding harming anyone. Now, anger is a big issue between the couples. It's so sad. It's that it leads to domestic violence, and especially now that we are in the middle of a pandemic, people are at home. They are interfering into the affairs of the home. Men do not know what happens during the day. They get angry. They take their anger out on each other, and this should be avoided. So that is the trait that one should look for in their potential spouse. Let me go through some of the uh, other qualities which I call as preferred standards. One of the main thing is attractive soulmate. It's very subjective as to when they say I want a beautiful soulmate. I want somebody with fair color. I want somebody. This is such a common thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with thinking of getting one, but one should make sure that they realize, they understand that beauty is and physical attraction uh, goes with the age. Also, it's external matter, and it's in the eyes of the beholder. Uh, Marriage, on the other hand, is a lifelong commitment, and smart people have started to look for somebody who's not only beautiful from outside, but also from inside. Second point is age difference. One of the aspect of healthy marriage is that people not only want a good soulmate, but they want a friend within them. So if friendship is created between people of similar age, they are not too big of an age difference. Now, what happens is somebody who marry somebody who is older and has got a big age difference, then that relationship or friendship changes into a dominating or controlling relationship, which is not good. So my request to, especially to the parents, is when you consider your daughter a soulmate for your daughter, look for the age difference. I think a decent age difference is 5 to 6 years. Uh, you know, there's another factor here that I wanted to present, is that uh, the girls usually mature before the boys do, especially at that age. A girl of 20-year-old has the same maturity level, and this is scientifically proved, of a boy who is 24, 25-year-old. So they are compatible to each other when the boy is a little bit older than the girl. And this is usually what the girls want in their soulmate, and also what the boys are looking for, with not too large of an age difference, but something like that is compatible. The other 2 points is my own culture or cultural differences. It's uh, it's exciting to marry into a different cultures, especially people who are living here in North America. They look for somebody, the Desis are marrying Arabs, or they're marrying into other cultures and whatnot. Even back home in India, Pakistan, or other places, where the countries are large, there are so many different cultures within the same place, within the same country. Now, you meet your somebody in your college, in your university, and you want to marry them. They're from a different culture. So, whereas it brings in excitements and also, but also it has its own issues. So one should be aware of how to tackle the cultural differences. A story comes to my mind where this mother wanted to have her son marry somebody from the same culture, who speak the same language, whereas the boy was wanted to marry somebody different. No, the mother insisted. The boy caved in. He brought in a girl, and and the only reason why the mother wanted was that the daughter-in-law could communicate well with her own mother, like the grandmother. Guess what? The grandmother passed away, unfortunately, after a few months, but the couple is not very happy together because they are not compatible to each other. They just do not see eye to eye on different issues. So uh, the other issue is professional. Uh, Marrying somebody who is a professional. How many advertisements have you seen for marriage where the boy asks for a girl who's of a certain eh, type, or the girl asks for a boy who is professional in terms of their in terms of their what their profession they're pursuing, like a doctor, an engineer, or lawyer, or something to that effect. One has to understand that with a professional, um, uh, um, one has to build their career within their profession, and it takes time. And much of the time, what happens is that uh, the husband or the wife are unable to give quality time to each other within their homes. They are so busy with their work. They are so busy. And I've seen that in many cases where they do not. Uh, there was one case, for example, where the wife and the children wanted her husband to come to different occasions, either family occasions or occasions with friends, or at or just going to a park, or just going to some places where the kids would enjoy. But the husband was always busy. So the wife then and the children left the husband behind and created their own social environment, because that's what they had to do. The husband feels about it, and sometime, but he is busy uh, with his profession, building his profession. So this is a reality. Now it sometimes it even worsen when both of them are professional, both of them are doctors, or both of them are from two different professions, and they are building their career. Who's left behind are the children. The last point on my list, and the list could be very, very long. Okay, you can make your own list. Is status. It is highly, highly recommended to look for somebody who is compatible to your own status. Do not look for somebody who is at a much higher uh, economic status or other status within the community. It's not recommended because the compatibility becomes an issue in that case, and it hurts the relationship of the uh, the couple in the long run. So let's look at the other aspect, negative issues. Um, there are so many. Right now, we're in the middle of, as I said before, in the middle of a pandemic. People are at home, they have lost their jobs, and anger is becoming a major issue. Anger has always been an issue within the relationship. Uh, People who are unable to control their anger, it results in the second point, which is domestic violence, which is absolutely no-no. There are so many cases. I'm dealing with cases right now where um, uh, the husband got annoyed. He uh, tried to push his wife around. His wife felt threatened. The wife called the police, and guess what? Now they are separated by the court order. They are living in two different places. The husband has been asked to a restriction not to visit his wife or not to visit the children for a few weeks. He is suffering. The wife is suffering. The children are suffering. So, domestic violence and anger, where does it start? Everybody gets angry. There's no question about it. It's an emotion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put into us. But when this young man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked him for an advice, he said, "La tawdu." Don't react to your anger. And he asked it over and over again, and he mentioned the same thing. Now, it is proven that one has the if they have the will and the training to control their anger, then they can respond to their anger and turn it into a positive energy rather than negative energy. The third point in my list is outside interference. A major issue within the community these days, whether the interference is from the in-laws or family members or friends, wherever the outside interference is coming from, if one gets influence, or the society, or even more than that, the social media. Social media is putting so much influence on young couple these days. So be aware of that, how much one get affected by, and is willing to listen to others rather than communicating and discussing it between the husband and the wife. The fourth point is mama's boy. I wrote this because this is very common these days, that some of the young boys especially, they feel obligated towards their parents. They feel that they have to listen to their parents. They feel that you know they and they force their wives to not only listen to his parents but also serve them, and this results in many dysfunctionality. There was a case when I was doing a premarital counseling, and when I asked this question, the young man responded to me by saying, uh, I can always replace my wife with another wife, but I cannot replace my parents. I'm going to listen to them no matter what. And guess what? They got married. The girl was present over there, and that was a red sign for me. And I did mention it that this is not very good approach, but they did get married, and within 6 months, they the marriage didn't last. Finance, another major issue between the these days both husband and wife work is a two uh, both member bringing in the money, and that has resulted often when they demand equal things, and it is becoming a issue of contention. It's becoming an issue of disagreements between the husband and the wife. Number six, our university playboy or playgirl. Our the colleges and the universities and the social media and the what you call the other venues that are available to our young people these days bring them into a different environment in terms of how they interact, especially between the people of opposite sex, and it results often in uh, in a trust issue. It often results in disagreements. It's resulting in a lot of family dysfunctionality. Or different couples come together, they have a good time, and guess what? That's where the mistrust start. The seventh point is the addict. And be aware who you are marrying and if they are addicted to something. I'm not only talking about addiction to either cigarettes or alcohol or drugs or gambling, which are all bad. All of them are extremely, extremely bad. But these days, the issue is in addiction to pornography that is resulting in relationship issues between the husband and the wife. The next point in my list is the differences of religion, culture, status, language, etc. As I said before, it's exciting to have these differences or the cultural differences. Many of the young people are marrying into other cultures and even into other religions, but it does poses its own problem and issues. So be aware. Being aware is the main thing. How you're going to handle, and especially the effect that it'll have on the children, how the children will be raised. Then the ninth point is recently divorced or widowed. Now, I should emphasize the word recently. Recently is when a person is just divorced, they have resentment, they have issues, haven't even processed, and even widowed, they haven't even processed what they have gone through yet. And sometimes they bring that into their new relationship, into their new marriage, if they do get married very quickly. So be aware of that, especially if the old case is going through either a divorce lawsuit or children, settlement, etc., etc. And there could be many more. So many of the parents, especially or young people, they ask me, well, all of this sounds very good and it makes sense, but how should we discuss it with the other party without offending them? How is that doable? Well, before I talk about how, let me tell you a story. And this is a true story. I was counseling this sister who has, had some issues, and finally she got a proposal. She was not a very young person. She got a proposal, and she asked me to help her out in finding more about that person, the proposal that came. And so I sat down with that gentleman, very nice gentleman, looked nice. We had a good chat and whatnot. But I realized that whenever I would ask him anything about his own person, he would not answer it straightly. He would not answer it correctly. And simple questions like what masjid do you go to, or what kind of friends do you have, or what kind of where do you spend your time, extra time, how do you spend it? He would not respond to it. As a matter of fact, he would not only ignore me, but or answer it very vaguely, but would get annoyed. I could feel the sense of annoyance and whatnot. So that was a red flag for me. And I told the sister and her family members to be aware. But they went ahead with the marriage, and guess what? He was on addicted to alcohol, to drugs. He would smoke. He was a chain smoker, and more than that, uh, he was not a religious person. Now, this sister was a very, very good religious person, and she was devastated and destroyed. And the marriage didn't last very long. As a matter of fact, he sent her back after a few months. So there are a few options that I would like to recommend to my young brothers and sisters, as well as the parents. Number one, I think the parents or even the parties can approach each other with a simple statement, something to the effect, it's important for the future of these young people. So we need to be honest with each other, and we should do a thorough inquiry about each other. We are willing to answer any question that you might have, and we request that you do the same thing at your end also. And the objective is clear, that the young couple should lead a happy life together. Now, usually this works very, very well. But if there is any resistance or hesitation, I consider that as a red flag. Uh, Number two suggestion is that there are many, many questionnaires available on the internet. We have one with 100 questions from Imam Majid on our website at rahma.org. We have also have uh, a special questionnaire that we give to the young people when they come to us for premarital counseling. So there are many like that available. The young people, they write their answers, exchange them, look at them, discuss what they think are issues that need to be discussed more, and it should have the different categories that are important, both from the your uh, whether they're core values that you would want, or whether they're peripheral uh, requirements that you have, does not matter. It should include, the questionnaire should include all of them. So there are many good questionnaires available on the internet. The third one is get a third party involved who is expert in the field, a good counselor, or somebody who could ask these kind of questions and get the young people to have a dialogue on these areas. When we do premarital counseling, we make sure that we include all of these that is on the mind of young people that should be asked. We ask about anger. We ask about family interference. We ask about finance. We ask about relationship issues. We ask about addiction and many other things. Uh, there is two more issues that I would like to talk about before I conclude. Number one, this is something that we are witnessing, and it's a concern to us. Number one is the delay in marriage. Uh, uh, 25, 30 years ago, people used to get married. Women, average age was 18 to 23. Men used to be between 23 to 27 years of age. Good age difference between women and men on the average. And they would uh, try to get married quickly. Now it has shifted to either late 20s or even over 30s or even past 30s. It's so sad. So why is the question? Uh, some people, or sometimes the parents or the young people themselves, they demand on completing their education. Oh, let my daughter finish her degree, or let my son settle down and economically and have something independent so that he can support his family and whatnot. Now, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you are ready to get married, and if you can afford it, get married. Nothing to do with education, nothing to do with economic independence, nothing to do. You know, a couple of stories come to my mind where this young couple, the wife supported the husband and the children by working, and the husband completed his professional degree after marriage. Very young couple got married young, mashallah. They struggled together in the beginning, but he completed. Now both of them are so well off, mashallah, in their own professions and very happy together. They struggled together, and now they are enjoying that benefit of the struggle. Um, uh, Another case, the mother of three just finished her professional degree in Canada. The husband, she would go to school in the evening. She took the evening schools. She would study late. The husband would take care after coming back from work. Would take care of the kids. And she just finished her degree, and she was so happy when she finished her. She Both of them wrote to me because I supported them. Many of them, they're looking for either what I call as a trophy wife or a trophy husband. Believe me, there will be no what you call Cinderella coming for you or for marriage, or what they call a somebody coming on some prince coming on a horse for you. It's just not real, you know. So have a realistic expectations for each other, and inshallah that would that's what we recommend. The other issue, sometimes what happens, especially in terms of boys, that they feel guilty about not taking good care of their elderly parents or sick parents and whatnot. Once again, nothing to do with marriage, in my opinion. It would be good if you bring in another partner who's understanding, who could help with in taking care of your parents. Okay. There's a new trend that is happening is for young people to enjoy their single life. Very disturbing trend. I don't know where it's coming from. I think people talk about, oh, I just want to enjoy my life before I get hooked up with somebody, and then come on, that's not the right approach, uh, in my opinion. Then the other thing is, many people have asked actually whether infatuation or love at first sight, uh, is that something that works in a marriage situation? You have to understand and realize that marriage is a lifelong commitment. It's not something that, you look at somebody, you fall in love without even looking at their habits or their who they are as a person and what their thoughts are in for a married life. You fall in love with each other. These might happen in movies or in dramas, but I think uh, if marriage is more than that. Marriage is something where people come for each other through thick and thin, through love or mercy, through play and fun. They combat the life challenges of life together, and they work together to create a happy home. You know, um, Subhanallah, there's an ayah that comes to my mind from Surah Rum. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. It's very beautiful ayah that says that husband and wife, when they get married, and it's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's my sign that you think that I have created mates for you from among yourselves so that you can live in harmony with each other, in tranquility with each other, in happiness with each other. And all of these things are, it takes effort, it takes time, it takes a lot of working together. So with this, I want to conclude by saying we strongly recommend a very good premarital counseling course for all young couples prior to marriage. You can get these courses. There are many courses available. We offer an 8-hour premarital counseling course through our institute. So this is my recommendation. Not only, I think for the parents, you can give your best gift for your children marriage is a premarital course, a good premarital course. So in conclusion, my request to my brothers and sisters who are planning to get married is to not to delay your marriage unnecessarily because you're doing your uh, education or you're waiting to get economically settled and whatnot, but rather look for a good soulmate which has who's compatible to you, who has good understanding of what a married life should be. And my humble request to the parents who are present over here and to the especially the parents, do not become a traditional in-laws after marriage. The traditional in-laws that always interfering in the life of young couple. That's not the way. Let the couple explore their own life. Our role as elders is just to support them. Also, use your wisdom and your experience to help them in the selection of their soulmate, but but let it be their decision. They have to spend their life, the rest of their life together, not you. So just be a support to your young son or your daughter. Lastly, if you like the program, please support our forthcoming programs coming up. Also, leave your comments on the social media, in your own social media if you like what you heard. And You can visit our website to find out more what's happening at rahma.org, or like what our Rahma Institute web book page. I would say Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much for your patience. If you have any questions, as I said before, I hope that you have put your questions in the chat box. We'll try to answer as many as we can for the rest of it. Thank you.